Patriots. I'm Lee Watts, and this is Patriot Point, your source for Kentucky news and analysis from a conservative, Christian, and common sense point of view. Well, as you can see this week, I am not in my office as normal. I have some speaking engagements out across the state, but still wanted to bring you some important news of things that are happening at the Kentucky State Capitol. First of all, let's talk about what old Andy Pandy Bashir has been up to this week. This week at the Kentucky State Capitol, the transgender, homosexual, LGBTQI, MOUSE group all came up and they had a little rally. And at their little rally, they also had a drag show performance. And who was at the drag show performance? Well, two important people. Number one is they had little children at this drag show performance. And also, Andy Bashir. Yes, he shows up for their little rally. He's the keynote speaker at it, saying how he supports all of this. He's also gone on record talking about how he supports gender mutilation surgeries for all those little children, how he supports having men and girls sports, and all kinds of other things. And this is a guy who's running our state and is trying to run the nation. So just thought I'd keep you in mind what Andy Bashir is actually doing and what he's a part of up there at the Kentucky State Capitol. He's also in a bit of hot water up there at the Capitol because this week the Andy Bashir administration was served with several subpoenas. That is correct. The state legislature has had to issue multiple subpoenas against the Bashir administration this week because of Andy Bashir's refusal to turn over certain financial reports. Every 2 years, the state legislature is required to make the state budget, and it affects everything going on in the state. And they're like, we need some of these reports about financial matters so that we can make a good state budget. And he has refused to turn these reports over. One of them that is getting a lot of attention has to do with the Kentucky Employee Health Plan. A lot of people have been contacting me about this. They're like, what's going on with this bill? It's included in House Bill 500. This is one of the reasons the state legislature has issued subpoenas, so they can get the financial documents about the Kentucky Employee Health Plan, and therefore they can revise the bill. But until they get at that information, they don't know the best way to do that revision. I have to wonder, why is Andy Bashir hiding these financial records? Why doesn't he want to give them over to the state legislature? Stay tuned as we find out what happens with that. I want to talk about a few bills that are also right now before the state legislature that you may want to contact your representative or senator about. And at the end of this, I have an open letter from a state representative to the people of Kentucky letting you know what is the absolute most effective way that you can contact a legislator and make a difference. You're going to want to stay tuned for that at the end of the program. Well, here's a few bills that I think you need to know about. First of all, there is House Bill 714, that is HB 714, and it has the crazy idea that it should be illegal in Kentucky to murder people. Now you might be thinking, hey, isn't that already a law where you're not allowed to murder people? Actually, no, because there are several unborn Kentuckians that are murdered every single year. House Bill 714 would just take the basic common sense approach that everybody's life is protected under Kentucky law, and you're not allowed to murder people, whether they're pre-born, just born, or any other time. You can't murder people. This is a wonderful bill, very common sense, great pro-life bill, House Bill 714. Tell you one that's not so good is House Bill 414. House Bill 414 would allow police officers to involuntarily collect DNA samples from people that they arrest under certain conditions. If you've been charged or being arrested for a felony, for example. Now, this is a problem. You've not actually been convicted of any crime whatsoever, and yet you can have involuntarily taken from you your DNA samples by the police. I believe this is a gross violation of your own privacy and some Bill of Rights, your Fourth Amendment rights. So if you'd like to contact your legislator about that, make sure that you do that before this bill gets passed. Let's talk about another bill before the legislature, and that is House Bill 670, HB 670, would say we are going to put the 10 Commandments in every Kentucky public school. This is wonderful. Just in December, a few weeks ago, the Kentucky State Capitol saw the restoration of a beautiful 10 Commandments monument right there on the Capitol grounds. This is because of a recent ruling from the United States Supreme Court, which says that the 10 Commandments is definitely something that the Founding Fathers looked to when they were setting up America and our system of laws. So for only merely historic reasons, you could include that. Well, if it's good enough for the United States Supreme Court to rule that you can, for the Kentucky State Capitol to have it, I think it's good enough for every single school to have that as well. And this will all be put in on private funds, not costing the state a dollar. So that would be House Bill number 670 to restore the Ten Commandments to every Kentucky public school. I hope you'll be supporting that one. And now I want to talk about one last bill. I just think this is great, and this is House Bill number 749. House Bill 749 would say it is legal to own a machine gun in Kentucky. God bless America. If you actually know the reasons why we have the Second Amendment, then I think you'll probably be supporting House Bill number 749. I want to talk about one issue that's going around in the state, and it has to do with the Kentucky Secretary of State, Michael Adams. And this guy's going to be running for governor. And let me put it out there right now, this is the last guy that you're going to want to be running for governor of our state. And I'll just give you one reason why right now. I'll probably be giving you several reasons in the coming months and years. One of the reasons is Michael Adams, the Secretary of State, is going around saying how he supports open primaries in Kentucky. Let me explain what that means. Right now, when we have the primary election in the spring, each party selects who is going to be their candidate. And whoever wins the primary goes to the general election in the fall. Right now, if you are registered as an independent, then you are not allowed to vote in the Democrat or Republican primaries, or if anybody else had a primary for their party. To have an open primary would say that the independents are allowed to vote in anybody's primary that they want. Well, here's the problem with this, I see. I am a Republican, and if you are unwilling to join our party, to say this is the principles that I stand on, then why should you be allowed to choose the candidate for our party? If you're willing to join our party, you can have a voice in it. But if you're not willing to join the party, why should you get to choose the leader and the candidates of it? So highly oppose what Secretary of State Michael Adams is doing right now, and a whole lot of things that he's been doing, because he's probably one of our biggest obstacles to election integrity laws. More about that in the months and years to come. But I also wanted to give you an open letter from a Kentucky state representative. One of the guys who's a true conservative. I really like what he does up there. And this is State Representative Thomas Huff. When he's talking about when you contact your state representatives, he says, first of all, don't use form letters. They can tell if you're just copying this from somebody else. He goes on to say, speak from the heart with your own words and experiences. Make your case with what you know. That is a key way to make a big impact on these legislators. He also says, include your address. We want to know that you're not from another state. Emails without addresses receive little attention. Signed, your friendly neighborhood state representative, Thomas Huff. And he really hits the nail on the head with all of that advice. When you contact your representatives, let them know, hey, I am from your district, and you are supposed to be representing me. And whenever you contact them, always be brief, be courteous, and ask them to contact you back with what they'll be doing. If you'd like to contact your state senator or representative with a phone call, the phone number at the Capitol is 800-372-7181. Before we sign off, I want to do something I've got out of the habit of doing, but I'm going to try to get back into, and that's letting you know my speaking calendar. So if you're around the state somewhere, you want to come to a meeting, I would love to see you there. In March, on March the 1st, I will be speaking at the Victory Baptist Church in Hodgenville, Kentucky. On March the 8th, the Grace Baptist Church in Liberty, Kentucky. March the 10th, at the Marion County Republican Party meeting in Lebanon. Then on March the 15th, at the Calvary Road Baptist Church in Shepherdsville. March the 21st, there is a Patriot rally that'll be at the Davies County Fairgrounds in Owensboro, and I'll be speaking at that evening. On March the 22nd, I will be at the Faith Promise Baptist Church in Franklin, Kentucky. And on March 29th, the Faith Baptist Church in Cynthiana. So if you're near any of these locations, absolutely love to have you come out, and you would be most welcome. Well, that's the news we have for this week, Patriots. Until next week, I'm Lee Watts for Patriot Point, reminding you that liberty is not a spectator sport.